What's up, guys? My name's Dante and thank you so much for watching another video. I love being able to start off my mornings on this topic, and the reason for that is if I can start off thinking about happiness, it's easier for me to go throughout the day and make my actions reflect that of happiness and make my actions be that of happiness. And that brings me to the topic of today. And it's the number one thing when I talk with people, the number one thing that I hear when I ask them, why aren't you happy? It's almost always because of another person, because of my job, because of school. That's the reason I'm not happy. And I don't like to say it like this, and I usually always use different language because I have more time. But for the sake of this video, to get right into the topic, I just want to say that that is false. To think that another person is the reason why you're upset. And we shouldn't be upset at ourselves for thinking like that because it's the way most people talk about it. It's a common way to talk about being upset. I mean, even when we're younger and we're upset and why are you upset? And we tell either our parents or our teacher, whoever you talked to when you were younger, and we would say something like, oh, he or she did this, and most people accept that language. Right? But I'm here to say that if we want to be as happy as possible, we must remove that language from our vocabulary, from how we speak. Because the truth is that whenever we're upset, it is solely because we made the decision to be upset. And I've heard before in books that we are the masters of our minds, we're the masters of our souls or destinies, or however you want to say it. But it's the truth. And what that means is no matter what happens to me, the way I feel or the way I accept feeling is solely my choice. We are never upset until we accept that which another person has said as being something that's real, something that is a fact. I have to be transparent that I'm not perfect at this skill, but I think even starting to understand it and practice it to the best of our abilities will result in some form of happiness. And when I say some form, I don't mean to demean it, because it is going to be huge once we're able to accept this concept. And it's not too abstract, it's not too hard to grasp. I mean, if we think about it logically, there's any number of things can happen to me. There's so many different things other people can say to me or do to me. But the way that I feel, whatever goes on inside of my head, is my choice, and I am in complete control of it. You see, we are standing in the way of our happiness, and it's fascinating to me because that is a fact. We are what stands in the way of our happiness. Our thoughts, our actions. If we really want happiness, we have the power to have it whenever we want. But for some reason, when somebody says something to me or somebody cuts me off, I make this decision to be unhappy or to be upset about it. And that's not an action that reflects somebody who seeks happiness. And the reasons why we do that, there are many. It may be a habit. It may just be that we think we want happiness, but we don't want to do the work for it, because it does require some work to create this way of thinking in your mind. Is it worth it? I would say that there's no better way to spend my time than to understand that my thoughts and my actions, my attitudes and my feelings are always under my control. People always come to me with scenarios, really hard scenarios. Well, how can you say that somebody can be happy in this situation? And think of the most terrible things that anyone could imagine going through. But no matter how hard it is, it's still there. The truth is still there that no matter what happens, we do have the decision whether to be upset about it. Do some situations warrant being upset? That's not a question I can answer for everybody. That's a question we have to answer for ourselves. But when we're talking about the day-to-day situations, when somebody says something rude to us, when somebody posts something upsetting about us or whatever, does that warrant allowing ourselves to be upset? Once again, a question you have to answer for yourself. But it's so important for me to have people realize that when they choose to be upset, that is not the world. That is not the things outside of them making them upset, right? That is ourselves. And that's mostly where I was confused. My life changed 4 years ago, and because I stopped thinking like that, things were able to get better. And what do I mean? Because I stopped thinking, having this mindset that other people controlled how I felt, that other situations and scenarios control how I felt. That's why I was having so much failure in life. That's why I was so upset in life. Once I opened my mind to be able to understand that everything that I'm feeling is that which I'm allowing myself to feel. It's extremely empowering. There's two ways to take it. One could say, how can you blame me for all of my unhappiness in life? And then they'll point out things like, look at this happened, this scenario, any range of things. How can you tell me that it's me that is causing all my unhappiness? And I understand. I have sympathy towards that because I felt that same way in life. But it wasn't working for me anymore, and I needed something different. And this was the answer for me, and has been the answer for so many people. I remind myself in the mornings that as I go through the day, I am the master of my feelings and I am the master of my thoughts. And that I will not allow myself to be affected by any person, place, or thing in the world. I will not allow myself to be affected by negativity. Because if I want success in life, if I want happiness, if I want to move forward, it's not that I avoid those things. I go right into them, but I make sure that I do not let them affect me. Once again, am I perfect at it? No. I've had much more success in it in the past 4 years than I have in the previous portion of my life. But it's a learning process, and the better I get at that skill, the more successful I am in life. It's just a fact. It gets to a point where we try to help people and spread this message because this is the truth. I don't know why it's accepted by so many people that we do have to succumb to what other people tell us. Negativity. We do have to succumb to that. When somebody says something mean to us or whatever the scenario, we must react. That's not necessarily the case, especially if we desire happiness. In fact, it's the opposite. When somebody does something upsetting towards me, the most important thing is that I do not react. I have options. I can try to understand that person, but most importantly, I must not react. That is feeding into the negativity, and we are manifesting our own unhappiness in our life. And no longer, especially after watching this video, no longer can we point to someone else and say, they're why I am upset. That's the reason right there. If we are upset, we must look in the mirror and say, that is why I'm upset. That is why my life is the way that it is. Excuses. Years and years of excuses for me got me nowhere. And sometimes those excuses still come into my head, and I'm really good at making them up, and we become good at that type of thing. But life is so much easier when there is no excuse anymore. I don't have to spend any energy thinking of an excuse, because when I'm upset, I know that it's because of me. If we use this type of language, especially when we're thinking in our heads, we become different people quickly, because we can no longer live the same way when we understand these rules, these laws, these truths. It's incredible. So, as always, a challenge for this week is to notice a time when we want to blame another person for the way that we're feeling. We want to blame someone else for negativity. Notice a moment like that and say to ourselves, no, I am the reason why I'm upset right now. And then, if you want to take it one step further, you can say, I will go on from this situation and I will be happy. I will be positive. Nothing can affect you if you become good at this skill. We can go through life and have whatever we want, especially if we want happiness. I guarantee if you practice this principle and make it a skill, you will have more happiness in your life. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.